War Eagle Auburn family, and welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we get together, we sit down, and we talk about what's going on in the world of the Auburn family spectrum. We're always heavy on the sports here, but if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. Thank you for joining us, whether you're watching live or on the replay. We appreciate you spending any amount of time that you can with us and just hanging out with us and talking about what we love about being an Auburn Tiger. And this is a momentous live stream. For the first time in program history, the Auburn men's basketball team is ranked number one. Number one. Let me say that again. Numero uno. It's done. It's over with. We have accomplished. Jesse Newell can't stand in the way. I haven't even looked at what Jesse Newell ranked us, who ranked us where, who didn't put us where. I'm just excited, and I wanted to hop on here on an unconventional time for us going live. Typically, we go live in the evenings, but if breaking news like this happens, we got to get on and we got to talk about it, right? It's just an incredible time to be an Auburn Tiger fan. So, couple of things for me I want to keep you aware of as we get started with our stream today. Our stream today is brought to you by our Booster Club, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the show. As you do come into the screen today, go ahead and make sure you smash that like button. Share where you're watching from, city, state, international. Most of you are already doing that and know the drill. Thank you guys so much for doing that and being faithful in that. Other things, I do have the headsets on, which means I can take phone calls today. I don't know that we'll get anybody because it is during the workday, but that is available. It's up at the top of the screen right now. If you'd like to take advantage of it, I'll even throw my little reminder down here. If you'd like to take advantage of that call in, you can be on camera or off camera. No pressure. It is just available if you'd like to be on here and celebrate with me and talk about this momentous occasion in Auburn basketball history. There's no really agenda for this. We're just going to react. We're just going to talk to you guys. We're going to hear what you want to say, what things that are on your mind about this, things that you're seeing online. I'm sure people are already analyzing and scanning what different prognosticators put us at what different rankings and things like that. So you all can share that and we can discuss some of that here on this show if you'd like to do that. See a lot of people already checking in. We got Richie Rich here. He ranked us 5th. Well, hey, that is a far cry from 9th, so I will take it. I will take it. Neil just saw the news. Jabari looking good on that SI cover. Is that like legit? I think people are just posting his picture over the Chris Porter one, but if that's legit, I have not seen it yet myself. It's been a very busy weekend, as you can imagine, getting to go to the Kentucky game, getting to see what was then called Pearlville. Being on campus for all of that. It was just an absolutely busy, incredible weekend. And I'm so glad that now we get to celebrate this just humongous accomplishment. Let me go ahead and say this right up front, too. You'll hear me say this a lot on the channel. Rankings in the grand scheme of things do not matter. And I still maintain that. But this is an important benchmark. This is an important milestone in the trajectory of this program overall, but especially under Bruce Pearl. It is certainly something that you can take, just hold on to that feeling that you get from it and enjoy it and just know that you have now earned the respect of media members. Now, whether you respect the media members or not, that's up for debate for you. But it is, it is quite an occasion for Auburn basketball. Even though rankings in the grand scheme of things don't matter, and I still maintain that, it's still something that's important to talk about. Sorry about knocking the mic right there. As you can tell, I'm very excited today. Even wore my hashtag basketball school shirt. War Eagle, Auburn man, thanks for being here. It's a custom one from Auburn men's basketball. Okay, I figured somebody was going to have that ready, and that's it might be photoshopped and it looks nice. Hey, it doesn't take away from how nice it looks though, because this is incredible. Just celebrate it, take it in. I'm probably going to be repeating myself several times throughout this stream. I don't have really an agenda on how long we'll stay here. I just wanted to hear from you guys. This is a reaction show after all, very unscripted in what we do here. Bryant checking in from Fairhope. Thanks for being here. Neil said, my Bammer friend just texted me, not bad for a cow college. I might punch him later on today. While we do not advocate for violence here. That's funny. Yeah, there is a lot of unhappy individuals, not just because of what happened to them a couple weeks ago, but because of the their school that they love to call a cow cause, they love to call little brother, they love to act like they're better than, is having success in areas that they just can't match right now. Enjoy it, folks. Enjoy the mountaintop. And we haven't even reached the true mountaintop yet, which would be a Final Four, a championship appearance, a championship. That's still on the table. Just because you're number one doesn't mean you get there. But it certainly looks a lot better than it did at the start of the season of those opportunities being a reality. So enjoy this moment, though. If you just take stock of it. Devin's here. Good to see you, War Eagle. Super cool for those boys. Well deserved. They have worked hard for it. And we talked about this on our post-game live stream reaction show where I talked about has Auburn done enough themselves? And the answer was yes, they have. They took care of business. They completely annihilated the most pitiful team in the SEC, which is Georgia. Sorry, Georgia fans. You can keep celebrating your football championship. We're on basketball now. They got down against Kentucky and stormed back and took what was theirs. And it wasn't like one of these last second shot things. They got out to a comfortable enough lead against Kentucky at the end there. And it really in the second half was all them. And so I think when you couple what they did throughout the week, the continually pitiful conference schedule that Gonzaga plays, you have no choice but for some people to move Auburn up from number 2 to number 1. But for the people that are being ridiculous, Jesse Newell, you have to move them up significantly. And he apparently moved us up from 9th to 5th. That's 4 spots. Just him alone would have tied us because I think we were 4 points behind Gonzaga in the ranking last week. That would have tied last week. Now, if everything had remained the same, it would have just been a tie. But obviously, some other people shifted us in favor of us over them. Neil says, I just saw a Kentucky player say, AU not better than them, salty. It is so interesting here to watch these Kentucky fans, these Kentucky players just be so bitter. I'm sorry that you're not as good as you once were. You're, and that's the thing, is like we even said it on our live stream. You're a good basketball team. You're going to be competing with us for the SEC regular season title, the SEC tournament, and who knows, we might see each other again, even in the NCAA. There's time to prove if that's true. But right now, we're better than you, and that's okay. Get over it. It feels good to say that, actually. The target is on our backs. The target on our backs just got bigger. Everyone wants to beat the number 1 team. Absolutely. Well, I think that target was already pretty big the way we've been behaving as fans on Twitter and stuff and all of other social media with the memes and stuff. We put the target there already, but it is now fully on us. If there was ever someone that just said, they're still just having fun with it, now it's serious. Everybody wants a piece of the Auburn Tigers. Enjoy that, folks. Enjoy it while you can. How do you feel about Pearl saying we are an everything school? Absolutely, Cleveland. Now, let me go ahead and say this so you can see, and let me bring your comment down so you can see. I'm wearing my hashtag basketball shirt. I'm actually not, I'm going to be honest with you, and this is probably going to make some of you upset. That's fine. We all have our opinions, right? I don't like this hashtag basketball, hashtag equestrians, hashtag football school thing. We're an everything school. I 100% agree with Bruce. That's the reason why, we celebrate and we get on board with these other programs as not as much as football, and you have to recognize that football is still king. It will always be king. But that doesn't mean you can't value and you can't get just as excited for those moments. I've watched Auburn softball take precedence over everything else several years back. And wow, the celebrations for that. I'd watched it happen with equestrian. It's men's basketball's time. And boy, what a time it is. So I completely agree with him. I wear this because I know some of y'all like that, and I will wear it still sometimes. But I'm not a big fan of the hashtag this school, hashtag that. We are everything. We are Auburn. And that's it. We're the Auburn family. We got the number 1 ranking. Now we can hope for the SEC regular season title. So I think what you're hinting at there, Rich, is a good point. Again, in my mind, while it is, I'm having just as much fun with you guys right here, celebrating the number 1 overall ranking. Rankings in the grand scheme of things don't matter. It is now a box that is checked. You've done it. Move on. There are more important things this season than getting the number 1 seed. Now we're gonna celebrate today. and we're going to have fun with our opponents against it. And as long as we have that number one, we're going to hold this banner up. But now you move on to things, taking each game by game. So you take care of that regular season title, position yourself well for the SEC tournament, perform well in that, if not win it outright, and then focus on that tournament. It becomes less about this big shiny thing, this number one ranking out there. And now you move on to just focusing on game by game. At least that's what I would do if I was coach. Now, Coach Pearl makes a lot more money than me, and he is clearly earning it. So I will defer to whatever he wants to say to the team. As a reminder, down below, I've got a little reminder for you. If you'd like to call in, please do. No, you don't have to be on camera. You don't have to call in. You don't have to take advantage of it, but I just wanted to throw that option out there just in case. We typically only open up the phone lines on Wednesday nights for our regular live show, but it's such a momentous occasion that I wanted to give you guys the opportunity to do that if you'd like to do that. I heard Calipari wants to change the screen rule. Well, get in line with Saban and the whole 1 second thing and all that kind of stuff. The amount of, for Kentucky fans, all you do is basketball. You are a basketball school. I'm sorry. You've gotten a little bit better at football, but that's it. You're just a basketball school. We're an everything school. And if you're a basketball school, your fans should be pretty well versed in what is and isn't like illegal or a dirty play. There are people calling that first screen by Walker Kessler, him just standing there. Oh, he shuffled his feet. Every player shuffles their feet. And if he had shuffled it enough, he would have gotten called for a moving screen, but he didn't. Your guy ran into him like a brick wall. I'm glad he wasn't seriously hurt, but boy, it was fun to watch him get rocked. Q, we will rock you. Suck it up, Kentucky fans. You're better than that. You're better than that. This James Barnett, one of our channel members, is here. Good to see you. WDE, although in the scheme of things, rankings doesn't matter. Amen. But Bruce Pearl and his team deserve this, even if it's only for a week. With that said, do you see us dropping a game before March? Yes. I've said that all along. Auburn's going to lose a game at some point, probably another one, a second one. It's very, very, very hard to go undefeated in college basketball. And you can say that for most sports, but it's very hard to do that with the amount of games you play, the more opportunities for injuries, more opportunities for other teams to get their acts together, right? Missouri is scaring everybody because they're beating teams they shouldn't. We're going to see them this Tuesday. By the way, tune in tomorrow night after the show. We're going to be talking about that Missouri game, no matter what happens. But yes, I don't suspect that we will stay at number one for the whole year. But I even asked you guys the question in the description for this video: how long do you see us staying at number one? I hope is if we can take care of business at Missouri. Oklahoma seems to not be as good as they have been in the past. We can probably at least hang on to it for a week. I'm really worried about that Missouri game, though. It'd be nice to hang on to it, though. Cleveland, I agree. Auburn, people do love Auburn, period. Pat Dye said it best. Every time they showed that clip in the stadium this season when I was at a game, I'm going to admit it to you. I got teary-eyed every single time. I had to stop looking at it when it was on the screen because it's so right. And it's almost now that he's gone, it means so much more. So it's true. I'm wearing this shirt today because this is a momentous occasion for Auburn basketball, but we are not a basketball school. We are in every, we are all, we're not, it's not even we are in everything. We are just Auburn. We're all one. I know I sound like Pollyanna, Sunshine Pumper stuff, but hey, it's a good day. We're going to have some fun with it. So all you grumpy Auburn fans out there, put a smile on your face. We also are a bass fishing school. That is true. Hey, we are a ice hockey school. We are a underwater basket weaving school. All of that kind of stuff. Historical moment, Kevlar says, War Eagle. I agree, Devin. We do not need to sleep on them. What's interesting is we've been getting, as we, one of the things that you guys have done great for us is helping us grow. We've just gotten over 2,000 subscribers. Keep sharing us out there. Keep helping us grow that Auburn family can. But we keep getting these like weird little spam comments on all of the streams now. There are like little letters and digits and stuff. I don't know. Like, I don't understand what the process of what they're trying to get all that, those little spammers. But anyway, sorry. I just noticed that was trying to get rid of one of them from the stream for you guys. Let's see here. This team is from the psychedelic mind of Bruce Pearl. Very, very aggressive G downs. And listen, as aggressive as Bruce Pearl is, He even says Katie Johnson is the guy that'll, you love and then you hate at the same time, like almost too much. But boy, when he is on, God, nobody can stop that dude. So yes, that tells you something when Katie's level is almost too much for Bruce. Kids need to be more aware he just straight up did not see Kessler. Absolutely. It's kind of like in football, if it's you hit the guy, you see it a lot of times like on interceptions or kickoff returns. And, these days they just so quick to call anything. So people aren't used to those type of plays anymore. But you can blindside without, if you hit them properly and knock someone's clock off, and that's kind of what happened here. The difference is if Kessler's standing there and kind of throws his shoulder into him like that you got a case. He stood there, 7'1" of him. You ran into him. Get over it. You're okay. You're all right. Shake it off, buddy. Usually teammates call out screens to prevent what happened. All around, no respect for Auburn basketball. Kentucky was humbled for the right reasons, thankfully. Yes, they were. Kentucky's upset because they have, for the most part, the undisputed best team in the SEC, and they can't admit they aren't now. They have, for the most part. You're saying they used to be. It's disputed this season. I think you meant that, but yeah, it's incredible time. Which player do you think the fan favorite player is? It's got to. Well, if you're talking about just in terms of who gets the fans most hyped, it's Katie Johnson. It used to be Dylan Cardwell, but that little ball of fury that is Katie Johnson gets people so hyped it's not even funny. It is not even funny. But there's plenty of fan favorites on this team. Plenty of fan favorites. Christopher, good to see you. Thanks for being here. We're just reacting, discussing, relishing it. It's amazing. Has anybody else looked online to see who else moved us up, moved us down? I know Dick Vitale put us at number 1, and he has a vote. I forget the guy's name, but he still had us at number 2, and he wrote like an article about it saying it was a tough call for him, but he didn't want to punish Gonzaga for beating what's on their schedule. And, there is something to that argument. You only can play who's on your schedule, but you still have to take that into account. There's a reason that they rank strength of schedule. There's a reason that they have quad 1, quad 2, wins and losses, quad 3, 4, what all that stuff. That matters. It's not that you are using it against them because it rightfully should. So, there is still a discussion to be had on whether it's Gonzaga or Auburn. But if Auburn takes care of their business and Gonzaga keeps going forward, doing what they should do is run through their conference, it's going to be that conversation that happens all season, which is why I think if Auburn loses, it's going to be hard for them to get back to number 1. So enjoy this now is what I'm saying. Micah says freshman at AU, best atmosphere in college basketball. Micah, are you, if you can, man, call in, hit that little link button at the top of the chat. If you were one of the guys or girls who was at the, and I'm not saying this for everybody, that were one of the students out there, I want to hear from you because this means probably more to you all than it does even for me. And it means a whole lot to me. It really does. Even someone who doesn't get all that excited about rankings. So call in. I'd love to hear from you. You don't have to be on camera or anything like that. You can just call in and like a phone call. They have been yes, Kentucky has been, but not so much anymore. Which team is faster in transition, 2022 or 20? I think it's still 2019. They're a lot smaller. Between Jared, Chuma, Bryce, and even Malik, that was a pretty deadly fast break team. And these guys are really good too, but they're a lot bigger. And Kate, when you talk about Katie, Wendell, and Zepp, that's a pretty good combo. But in terms of in that situation, I'd lean still 2019. Let's see here. We have to call him the Tasmanian Devil. That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. I wish Laura Behrman would have got a few minutes in the game too. He's still, from what I understanding, working through whatever issue he has going on with his, I think it's a foot. In a game like that, where there's such a swing of emotions and back and forth with two the best teams in the SEC, arguably, you really don't want to have someone that's got a liability become a factor in that game. So I understand that you don't want to throw him in there. I hate it for him because the dude's earned his playing time. The dude's been just as much responsible for this number 1 ranking as any of the other guys that are out there playing. But you gotta do what's right for him and for the team. So I don't think you need to put him out there at that time. Just kind of thinking through that. Somebody said that it was Newell that wrote an article. He wrote an article last week. I didn't see yet if he wrote an article. Literally, I saw the news. I was waiting on it to drop. Posted our little post about it on Twitter, and then I got here setting up this stream because normally, for those of you that might be new to the channel, I'll pull the curtain back a little bit. What we do is most Sunday through Wednesday, sometimes Thursdays, we will post like an edited video at 1:00. To give you guys something to watch during the day. And then we have live streams on Wednesday and sometimes, most of the times after the basketball games. Today, there's not going to be an edited video. This is your video because I wanted to be here with you all talking about this because this is so cool. It's absolutely cool. Blake Dupay, War Eagle. We did it, Auburn family. We absolutely did it, my man. It is now checked off the box, ready to go. Auburn has now. So here's the crazy thing about this, just reacting to not just this news, but the overall impact on the program. Clint Richardson, I think, was even talking about it on Twitter. He and I used to do the basketball podcast together here on the E2C network. And now Chris and Gray Oldenburg do it together, and they'll have an episode coming out tonight talking about this. They were going to do it last night, and something came up, so the episode would have come out today, but then they would have missed this. So I think they're thankful that they didn't get to do it tonight. Anyway, where was I going with that? Clint was saying just about what has transpired with Bruce Pearl and the things that we've watched him do, from making this team competitive, ending losing streaks, creating winning streaks, getting to a Final Four, and then now this. You've earned the respect, at least enough of the respect of the media members that have a say in voting for these type of things. And you're the number one team in the land. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. Yes, I wouldn't call it pathetic, Papa Cotty. Is that how you say that? I wouldn't call it pathetic. I would call it just a cakewalk for the most part. They've got, every once in a while you'll see some teams. If I've got their conference right in my mind, I think they've got like UC Santa Barbara, maybe Irvine as well. Pacific. You'll see some decent teams come out of there from time to time, but it's usually just them. Oh, look, we were just talking about Clint, and then he shows up. Ears must have been burning, or you were just watching in the background, buddy. Clint, I know you're working. Can you call in? I need to talk to you. Come on. You and I have to talk to each other because we have seen the highs of highs and the lows of lows with this basketball program. So if you can call in, do it. I need to talk to you. What were you talking about? Maybe just talking about that. Just talking about what we've seen together, going from celebrating ending losing streaks to this with this program. I'm so hoping that BYU beats them at home. I'm a BYU. Devin, I didn't know you were a BYU. So are you an Auburn fan first and then a BYU fan? Or are you just saying I'm a BYU fan for then? Jamie is celebrating. Good to see you. Unbeaten Lake. This may sound weird, but I think Missouri is probably the toughest road game we will play the rest of the season. I don't have the schedule pulled up because this, normally on most of our shows, I have my other screen over here where we can look at stats and stuff like that. We're not worried about all that right now. This is just taking in what's going on right here. But what I would say, I'm trying to think through the rest of the schedule that I can remember in my head. Missouri is up there in terms of the toughest. We don't go to Kentucky. I don't believe. We don't go to Missouri, or excuse me, LSU. I think we go to Tennessee, and I think we go to Florida still. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Those could be up there as well. But yeah, I'm very worried about this Missouri team. And knowing what they've already done, beating teams they shouldn't, and knowing they can knock off the number one team in the land, they got all the motivation they need right now. All the motivation. At Florida, Papa said, yep. So we got an at Florida one. Clint, man. Dadgummit. Why do you got to be working, huh? Going to Gainesville. You want to join us? Oh, don't tempt me, sir. Don't tempt me. Well, I've actually got several little Auburn trips that I'm considering for basketball, for baseball here in the coming months. So stay tuned for that. You might get some road coverage from me if we get to doing some of that. We'll see what happens here. Tennessee and UF is tougher, so we do go to Tennessee. I think Missouri it's tougher in terms of they have the momentum. Tennessee's taken a few licks. Florida's taken a few licks, and they've had some injuries too. If they have those guys back, yeah, that could be the big one there. Besides Sonny Smith getting a banner, I was happy to see that Joe Champy was one of the women's best. And I think it's a great point to bring up Kevlar. And let me just say this. Obviously, we're talking mainly about men's basketball here, but I am excited for where they're heading with the women's program. It looks to be in the right direction. And the fact that Joe Champy finally got his banner put up yesterday was absolutely incredible. I had hoped to be there for that. I just, the schedule didn't work out for it. But if we can get Sonny up there next to Joe, ooh, it's going to look pretty. That we're running out of space, folks, in the banners, in the banner sphere. Let's see what else you guys are saying here. Arkansas is tricky too. Yes, that's a good one. So don't think that this is when we asked, a lot of you were asking the question, how long will it take for Auburn to lose one, or how long can they stay at number one? They've got a lot to get through to remain at number one if they want to stay there. Yeah, I didn't think we played Kentucky again. We likely will in the SEC tournament, so we will see them again probably, unless they get upset. We better save some room for Bruce. Yeah, and we've had these conversations before. Clint's actually had, when do you retire a number? When do you, how do you honor a coach or an administrator or something like that? I mean, look how long it took him to do the statues outside the football stadium. I think Bruce will have a statue, his banner, something before time is done. But we are a long way off, hopefully, just in terms of keeping him here, but in terms of that happening. So I think Bruce is guaranteed his place in Auburn history, moreover times than we could have ever imagined that he could have. Orel been a little absent since the coaching search. Glad we can celebrate this moment together. Yes. Yeah. I'm not a fan of Coach O, so I'm going to say no to that one, but we'll talk about some football stuff on the Wednesday night show, Orel. So please come back to that if you can. But yes, I am so glad that we could celebrate this thing together. There's been, a tumultuous offseason with football. So this basketball season is what we needed to bring everybody together. Didn't he want to build the pearly gates after this time? So yes, Coach Pearl did say that he did not want it called Pearlville, as much as I personally loved it, just because it was so just thrown together, and that name signifies being thrown together. I think I want to have a conversation. I'm trying to figure out who it's going to be with. If only there was somebody. I just quoted one of my fellow podcasting friends. I want to talk about, maybe even see if we can get an artist to do some renderings of what they could renovate that thing in front, the field or the courtyard and grass in front of the arena, and how they could set it up better for the students. Because that environment was cool. If there had been a little bit more organization to it, it would be better. It's the first time this has happened. So everybody just needs to chill for a minute and realize we'll get it together. Can't be perfect all the way. Sonny is 40 years removed from coaching. Joe is Champy is 30. It'll take time. Yes, it will definitely take some time on that. Devin, you're always an Auburn fan first. I went to BYU, Idaho, and my other family members. Okay, so that's why you're cheering for BYU. Well, we're all cheering for BYU to take down Gonzaga so we can, retain. We don't have to fight them for number one if we lose one or something like that. The important thing for this is if Auburn wants to have the best case for keeping number one, if they were to take a loss or two, you would want to take them on the road against good teams. So, like Florida, Tennessee. I would, as much as Missouri is kind of proving that they need to be respected, I don't know that the national media and college basketball, general public will view that as a good loss. So this next game is very, very important when we talk about retaining this number one overall ranking. But yeah, my husband is a Washington fan, she says. It was fun to watch that game. I was there at that game. That was a really, really fun game. Shame on Skybar for not letting those kids use their outdoor heaters. Well, somebody brought outdoor heaters because so when I left, I was there, I think to about 11, 10:30, 11, maybe 10:30, just taking it in, doing a live stream. That video's out if you want to go check out what Pearlville looked like. And I'm still going to call that Pearlville. What it becomes after that, we could talk about later, but that was Pearlville. It was everything that Pearlville could be. They did not have the heaters out there when I left to go to bed. And then I came back early that morning. I think I got out there with them for the first time about 7:45. There were heaters out there. And I don't know what time they were. I don't know who brought them. I wouldn't be surprised if Bruce Pearl took money out of his own pocket to do it. But yeah. But there's a setup that the better setup that needs to be had there, and Bruce has acknowledged that. So it will happen. It will not happen this season, but I'm sure that is going to be hard at work in the offseason. Oklahoma game is going to be very exciting, OG. I wish they were doing a little bit better, and I think there would be a little bit more excitement around that. Let's see here. Had to use their for their business. Yeah, it's one of those things you can't really fault them, but at the same time, it would have been a good community thing to say, hey, here's some of our heaters out there. And you saw a lot of people stepping up and doing that. Let me give a shout out to Allie Davidson. She used to work for Rivals, I believe it is, one of the Auburn coverage media beat sites. I've had a conversation before. We've had her tell her Auburn story. And then she is now, I forget what she's doing now, but we're actually going to probably be getting together to talk about the efforts that she did. She organized to get food constantly to these kids, to get hand warmers. I mean, it was not, obviously she kind of led it, orchestrated, but I've talked to several people who were involved in getting these students what they needed to make it through a freezing, uncomfortable night and still have that incredible amount of energy. And so here's the thing. I think in the moment, they would have been very sad and disappointed they went through that if they had lost. But think about what they're experiencing now. You went through that. You got that win over Kentucky, and you got your #1 ring, and you were a part of that. You'll never, ever forget that. Did it suck at times? Yes, it did, I'm sure. It was bad for me out there bundled up just for 1 or 2 hours that I was walking around in the evening, and then same thing in the morning. But y'all are troopers, and I don't know how best to say, but we're proud of y'all. That's it. So if you're a student watching this, we're proud of y'all. Not some of the antics that probably were involved to use your imagination during the craziness of that night, but just in terms of your spirit and being there. Clint says he hopes that Tent City doesn't become a more normal thing. Clint, I'm going to disagree with you. I don't want Tent City, what happened this, to become a normal thing, but the camping out thing, I think that type of hype needs to happen more often. It can be different. It can do something in another way, and Bruce has acknowledged that. But that type of hype needs to happen again. I loved it. I wasn't even in line, and I didn't want to leave because of the excitement for it. Where did I get my shirt? I don't know. This is one of those spammer people again. We're going to have to block them again. Sorry, folks. I don't know why they keep doing that. I need to make some of y'all mods. We'll talk about some of our Booster Club members. We'll probably make you guys mods or something like that. But let me think about that, how we'll go about doing that to help me with some of that stuff. Where did I get my shirt? I don't remember, actually. I think someone gave it to me. Again, I'm not super fond of this phrase because we're in everything school, but I'm wearing it because of today's momentous occasion. I think we get past Missouri, but OU scares me. They beat Arkansas, Florida, and played close games against KU, TCU, and KSU. Yes, they are formidable. Don't take them lightly in any sense of the imagination. All right. Here, keep your comments and questions going. We're not going away just yet, but I do want to take a minute here to remind you of ways that you can support our content here on this channel. One of those things being the E2C Network Booster Club. Going over to patreon.com/E2C Network. Join up there. It starts for as little as $1 a month. People like Linda, who've been here on the channel, are members of our Booster Club, and you get different perks at different levels. So check that out. It does help keep the lights on here. Helps me buy new equipment. helps us do new and different things, travel to games and stuff like that to give you guys coverage. Those things are what you fund our ability to cover things for you from a fan perspective. We're not really traditional members of the media, but we like being your eyes and ears and voice in some sense of the words in what way we can be. So thank you guys. Thank you, our Booster Club members who are already there and supporting us. But if you're interested in that, check out the links in the description. They're listed down there as well as other ways that you can help support our content here. All right, back to the comments and questions. Let's see where we're at. As long as Katie's having fun, I don't think we'll lose. I don't know that the kid won't ever find some way to have fun there. Ray, I think Arizona should be number one. Why, sir? Are you an Auburn fan? Just being honest, or and saying your honest opinion, or do you what? So, what case does Arizona have over Auburn to be number one? Because to me, the only case that can be had by another team so far would be Gonzaga, but I do think Arizona's up there. I think they're in the top 3 conversation. That's not me trying to disparage Arizona, but Auburn's the number 1 team in the nation right now. And I know I could say that as an Auburn fan when the orange and blue glasses on, but there's not really much argument there. They've done what they needed to do to be the number 1 team in the land. Let's see. Talking about the whole Pearlville thing, it wasn't really necessary. I'm a current student, walked right up to the gate and got in at 10:40. No line. I had the same seat as the students who camped out. Well, Blue Eagle, I don't know how you pulled that off, but I think you probably had not as good as the seats as someone that was there the front and center. I don't know. Maybe you knew someone who let you sit there, but I would say this. There's a certain level of hype that builds up, and I think it's more about the experience. You heard the old story. It's not the journey, it's how you get there. That's just as important about that. And I think there's something to that. I would have done it if I was a student, because I would imagine, while it was miserable at times, there's moments that people will remember forever from that, whether it was a couch being delivered out there or anything like that. But I see your point. Someone maybe like you that doesn't really want to take part in that necessarily. I see why you wouldn't like that. Unfortunately, that may be where it's heading at this point. This is how traditions begin. Yes, they begin this way. Let's make them better, though. They can be done better than that. Ray, still waiting for you to tell me why they're number 1. Not getting any response there. It just comes in, drops in. Arizona's number 1, but then nothing. It's nice to avenge our loss from Kentucky game in 1999 that prevented us from getting the number 1 spot. Yeah, a lot of rights being wronged in this season. It feels like it, at least. The Oklahoma game is kind of a big game, just from the fact that Oklahoma has been usually been a strong program. Yeah, and look, I still think that they're a good team. I just was hoping they were going to be better, because we really need that solid number 1, I would say number 1 non-conference team win. And we don't right now. You've got Loyola Chicago and forgetting UConn would have been that for us, but I think Oklahoma would really solidify your non-conference resume. So when you get into discussions at the end of the season, depending on how many times Auburn's lost, whether they're ranked number 1 or not, they can kind of match that up against the other ones and say, okay, well, they definitely deserve to be a number 1 seed based off their non-conference record. Do they deserve to be the number 1 overall seed? Oklahoma would go a long way, that win, to proving that point. Clint's having fun with the Alabama fans. We haven't been getting a lot of the Alabama trolls in here lately, which has been nice, but it's been real quiet out there on the old western front of the state of Alabama. Not a lot of relevant noise. Of course, you've got the certain fans that always make noise, but no one with really anything to say of value at this point. Kind of getting us back rounded around to the front of this thing. Auburn ranked number 1, first time in program history. Now, if my understanding is correct, we were number 1 preseason with that whole SI cover with Chris Porter. But this is the first time we were ranked in the season as a program, and while in the grand scheme of things, rankings do not matter, this is a huge accomplishment for Bruce. This is a huge accomplishment for this team and for this program. And we'll all remember this weekend, this day, and it's probably, outside of that Final Four run, outside of that magical run in the SEC tournament first year with Bruce, this is going to be, and I wouldn't say outside of that, probably just the Final Four run. This is probably number 2 kind of sequence of moments for Bruce Pearl's time here at Auburn thus far. Alabama fandom ended 2 weeks ago. It'll pick back up in July. Great point, Blue Eagle. Yes, Chris. He's a class act joining the students Friday night. So here's the reason that he's a class act, and not just, it has nothing to do with even really class, just caring about the whole picture, not just your program as in the players, but your program as in the fans and the students. Dude comes out there, has his players come down. He organizes with the other school, the other programs, football, women's basketball, wheelchair basketball showed up with food for these students. It was amazing. So not to go back and pick on Blue Eagle, but I think that's the part you may be missing all that. Seeing the Auburn family rally around each other and being a part of that, experiencing that, even though I was just on the outside observing it and capturing those moments, that was awesome. I'm so glad I went. Anyway, I think I kind of went on a tangent there again. But Bruce cares about the students. He got them to open the gates early for them to get inside. He was going to address them again in the morning outside. And then he said, why are we doing that? Let them in early and let me talk to them personally. And he did that. And he's already said on record, I am going to do something, get these donors and doing something better for this situation, for when these moments happen. Will it become a regular thing? No. But when you have another run to the number 1 ranking with Kentucky being the thing that gets you there, it's going to happen again. You might as well take care of the students the best way you can. Trey says, don't want to jinx anything, but I would say we have a pretty good chance of winning out the regular season. Trey, I don't know, though. We've been talking about it a lot. A lot of road games that are going to be troublesome. It's a long way to the end of the season here. I mean, we're in the 2/3 of January here. We still got all of February and some of March to go before we even get to postseason. A lot of opportunities for Auburn to take a stumble or two, but enjoy it right now while you can. I was hoping game day would come to Auburn, but I don't know if we have another Saturday home game on ESPN. They might go to the Auburn, Florida, Tennessee game because of that game time. Maybe so. They weren't going to teams. I think that starts up this week, which I'm sure they're now regretting themselves doing, but that's the way the world is. Sorry, I was moving my chair around. By the way, I got a new chair back here. If you guys can't tell, it's a lot better. I can sit upright more and be here with you guys more front and center. But yes, it's a shame they weren't able to be there. It would have been really cool to have that happen. Yes, it wasn't just football. Like I said, it was every aspect was out there of the school, of the athletic department. I saw just people coming in droves, bringing heat, hand warmers. They brought them coffee, they brought them orange juice. I'm sure they brought them sodas and stuff like that. It was just incredible outpouring of support for each other there. I'm an older student, but if I was that age, I definitely would have been out there. Fair point. So that's what I'm saying too. Like me now wouldn't do it. Me then, that age, 100%. I painted up, yes, but I actually camped out for the 2013 Iron Bowl. I wasn't a student, but I got in the student section, and things were a little bit easier back then. But we slept out there in pretty cold temperatures all night, but it wasn't that cold. It was probably upper 30s at its worst, maybe, but it was mostly mid 40s for the day and night. So it was cold, but it wasn't that cold. No Auburn fan here, but looking at the schedule, they looked better against ranked teams than us. But beating LSU and Kentucky is awesome. So what do you mean by looked better? I mean, we're probably not going to be able to address it. We're going to probably be wrapping up here in a second, but I think everybody's got their opinions, and I'm not saying you're necessarily wrong for having that opinion, but I don't see where just because someone looked better doesn't mean that they are better. It's Auburn has looked better than a lot of other teams against Kentucky. and LSU and stuff like so. By that token, we can play that all day. You know, looking is not really what you are, what you do, how you. It's deeper than that. How you respond to adversity. Auburn has time and time again, especially on the road, been down and come back and taken out good teams because they don't panic. They've got the talent and they've got the depth. It's deeper than looking. It's what's your team made of. That's why Auburn's the number one team. Not because they've just magically run off a couple of amazing wins. It's because they have the depth to sustain hardship and still come out on top. And they haven't lost since UConn. Knock on wood. After GA, Alabama has to play Baylor, Auburn, and Kentucky in a row. Yes, that is going to hurt. Oh, the gymnastics at the gymnastics meet was hilarious. I loved seeing that. That was really cool there. All right, final questions, thoughts. Get them in right now if you'd like to. Post them in the chat right now, whether it's a celebration, some one last minute thought or question you want to get in. Do it right now. A couple reminders for you about what to expect the rest of the week for us. Tomorrow night after the game, live reaction show here, similar to this. We usually don't do call-ins for that, but if you'd like to, we never know. Just stay tuned. But we will be going live shortly after that. It's usually about 5 or so minutes after that just to get set up and things like that. So stay tuned for that. Wednesday night live stream. You can call in and we'll talk about anything. This, some more, football, gymnastics, whatever you want to talk about. It's live. You can ask questions, comments, derogatory rebuttals, all that kind of stuff. We'll have some other videos coming out for you later this week, usually about 1 o'clock, some edited videos, just some overall topics that are on my mind. And then we'll have our podcast coming out through this week. Busy week. Football came out today, basketball tomorrow, equestrian on Wednesday, track on Thursday, probably another basketball on Friday, and it's just going to keep going and going. We are in the busy season for Auburn Tigers fans. Get excited. I hope you all are excited. And please do check out some of the links in the description for ways that you can help support our content here. All right, let's take a look at what you guys saying before we get out of here. Feel like many sports writers wanted to make the story about Ty Washington getting hurt, but a team is more than one player. The better all-around team won. Yes. A lot of Kentucky fans want that. Oh, if Ty Washington wasn't out. Did you see what happened to Auburn in the Final Four when their best player, or in the Sweet 16, when their best player went down against North Carolina? They still beat North Carolina, and they managed to beat, and what I would argue is a better Kentucky team than this one, without their best player. It's not how good your best player is. It's about how good you are without them. So if Kentucky was as good, deserving of the best in the SEC, deserving of their number 1 overall ranking, they wouldn't have struggled the way they did. All right, I said we were going to get out of here, but one of our favorite guys has just called in, so we have to talk to him real quick. So we're going to let him have last word on everything here. Mr. Dusty, what's up?
What's up out here? Just working, man.
How you doing? How you feeling?
Saw you were live. Wanted to pop in real quick.
Yeah, how you feel about being number 1?
I've told you how I feel before, but as far as the polls, we're going to get it anyway. But it's nice to see that they I guess Newell got the message. I think Bo Jackson might have scared him a little bit.
I would be scared of Bo Jackson too, no matter what the problem was I had with him. Because if I just feel like if you look at that man, he might snatch your soul out of his body because he's just an athletic freak. We've just been here reacting, talking about it, and talking about.
I'll come back and watch it when I get off, man.
Yeah, it's just been fun us talking about it. We had somebody on here say that Arizona's the number 1 team, and he can't really back it up. He just said they look better. I'm like, okay, okay. You make that case.
Well, we'll see. I mean, tournament don't lie. There's it's not like college football. You're gonna find out who the best is in college basketball, and if you're doubting the Tigers, and you'll find out soon enough.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about this is, like, we're going to celebrate this and we're going to have fun with it. But the great thing we talked about at the start of the stream is, this is now checked off the list. We move forward. We've got more important things than a number 1 ranking to worry about.
We're not storming the court anymore when we beat Kentucky. We're expected to beat Kentucky.
I was a little worried about that. I'm not going to lie. I was watching the students because, they were out there all night. Yeah. Personally, they deserve to storm it, but I think they realize, look, And for that, like you said, this was not about Kentucky. This was about Auburn proving itself to the college basketball world and to itself, legitimizing itself and saying, we are the number one team. This is not about Kentucky. That us Rolling Tuners had nothing to do with you as much as they wanted to make. This was about us and nothing else.
Their feelings are so hurt to have their one thing taken from them, but we took it from you. Basketball is ours now.
It is.
I know you're trying to close up, so I don't want to keep you, man.
Fine.
But just so everybody knows, it was awesome what happened with everybody following everybody on Twitter this weekend.
Yep.
And that was really cool, man. That was such an organic, awesome thing to see. See all the love, all the positivity, the fan base showing everybody. And the hockey team, y'all don't sleep on them. They swept Alabama this weekend. Don't forget about that. We swept Bama in hockey this weekend and won every fight.
It's a lot of good things. A lot of good things coming out. By the way, I know this is like a quick aside for me and you. I'll get back to your message very shortly here. So just stay tuned for that.
We're all squared away, boss. I'm getting all that.
All right.
All that good.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, guys, so much. Thank you, Dusty, for being here. We got one more caller who called in, so I'm going to let him say hi real quick. But thanks for calling in, Dusty.
Hey, War Eagle Auburn family. I love all y'all.
War Eagle. All right. Let's get one more caller in here. One of our other regulars. Kevin, what's up, buddy?
War Eagle, we're number one.
How are you feeling, buddy?
I feel good.
I bet you do. I feel really good too myself, my friend. Thanks for calling in. I just wanted to let you hop on here for a second and just celebrate. How long do you think Auburn will stay number one?
Rest of the season.
You think so? You think we can pull it off?
Yeah.
Well, good. I hope that you are right, because I'm worried about it.
One of the football players was at the game.
He was at the game. Yeah, several of them were. Derek Hall, Jarquez Hunter, Brian Harson showed up. I'm sure there were several there.
Yeah. They should be good next year in football.
I hope so. We're going to talk some more football on Wednesday night, though, if you want to come back and talk about
Wednesday.
Yeah, call in Wednesday. Wednesday nights are always open if you want to talk football, but I hope that you are super excited about to be in number one.
Yeah. Talk to you later, War Eagle.
War Eagle, thanks for calling in, Kevin. All right, good to hear from them at the last minute here. We're going to go ahead and close down the phone lines. Thank you all so much for being here. I know this was an impromptu stream. Don't typically do this at this specific time of the day, but you guys, we had to. You have to. We're going to celebrate it. We're going to relish it. We're going to check this box off and go move on to bigger and better things. I hope you guys are excited, because I didn't think we'd ever see this day. But War Eagle to you. Hope to see you here on the channel the rest of the week. Stay tuned for all that content we got coming up. Until we talk to you again, War Eagle.